2015 J&A Services NHRA Pro Modified Series has been a war. There have been champions, but no clear dominance by any team. There have been high points. There have been low points. But now, as we near the end of the season, the World Championship title is still up for grabs. Within the NHRA is a class of car that defies convention. Door slammers with nitrous, turbos, blowers. These are the Mavericks. This is Pro Mod. Welcome, everybody, to Gateway Motorsports Park in Madison, Illinois, only 2 miles across the Mississippi River from St. Louis, Missouri, and the fabled Gateway Arch. This race, the next to last event in the 2015 J&A Services Pro Modified Tour, could indeed include some serious implications for the top 2 points earners coming into this next to last race. Indeed, currently in the number 1 spot is Mike Janis in his Buffalo, New York supercharged Chevrolet Camaro, but right behind him is Troy Coughlin, who put up a tremendous fight at the most recent event in Charlotte, North Carolina, that ended up with grave consequences for a team that had to thrash like you wouldn't believe just to get here to the St. Louis event. Going back to Charlotte, North Carolina, Troy Coughlin crossed the finish line ablaze, and in fact, when he got the car stopped, the car was burning almost to the ground. Were it not for the NHRA safety safari, the car would have been a total loss. As it was, the car was almost completely destroyed, but the team picked it up, took it to crew chief Steve Petty's shop in Atlanta, Georgia, and immediately began a rebuild that was, no kidding, 72 straight hours of work to completely refurbish the car, including all new wiring and the repair of the burned body panels. The car came here to St. Louis and unloaded off the trailer with an easy 5.9 second run just to make sure everything was right, and then Coughlin unloaded a 5.88 second run to place him number 4 in the qualified field. Meanwhile, Mike Janis, runner-up most recently at the NHRA U.S. Nationals in Indianapolis, had his own problems during qualifying. At first, a drivetrain failure on the starting line left him stranded without a qualifying run. A second attempt had mechanical problems going down the track, and he wasn't qualified going into the final session. But on that last chance qualifying effort, he produced a blistering 5.84 second run that puts him in the field number 2 behind Stephen Whiteley's first ever career pole of a 5.82. What does that mean? Well, going into eliminations here in St. Louis, currently Janis has a 3-round advantage over Coughlin. In other words, Coughlin must gain ground on Janis here at St. Louis to make this a drag race for the World Championship at the upcoming finale in Las Vegas. We begin eliminations here at Madison, Illinois. In the near lane, Mike Castellano's Long Island, New York Western Beef and Smithfield Foods sponsored nitrous oxide injected Corvette, taking on the man who won his first ever NHRA title here 1 year ago in the far lane, Mike Knowles' incredible supercharged Mustang. A huge advantage for Knowles. An uncharacteristically horrible reaction time for Castellano will advance Mike Knowles' Mustang.
Defending race champion Mike Knowles. Hey, earned your keep there. Your 588 beats his 587.
Well, that's good. They're a great team. Mike's a great guy. I mean, you know, it's just, man, we've been digging. This has been a tough year, and you know what? We earned it. We'll continue on and see if we can't defend this race.
Cloud cover is making this a very fast racetrack. Knowles actually improved from his qualifying time, and remember, this was the 3rd quickest field of all time with a 5.94 second bump spot. Delaware's Jerry Capano heats the tires up in his supercharged Chevy Corvette, which, as our Mike English explains, is a partnership in more ways than one.
Throughout the 2015 Pro Mod Series, wives played a key role in their husbands' teams. Shannon Glidden with her husband Billy, and Heather Capano with her husband Jerry.
I really am competitive and started racing back with my dad a long time ago, and then got reintroduced to in the pro modified world with my husband, and I definitely feel the pressure, that's for sure, but you know, learning as we go. Mainly I maintain the fuel system and the main jet in the hat, and I really run the computer as my main job.
She also races a dragster, so she loves racing through and through.
I'd like to think I work for Diamonds.
Capano's got his work cut out for him because Troy Coughlin Jr., certainly the leading contender for Rookie of the Year in the 2015 J&A Series, is in the other lane with the turbocharged Jegs Corvette. Being lined up to the starting line, supercharged Corvette versus turbocharged model. And the young, something goes horribly wrong for Troy Coughlin Jr. It's a free ride for Capano, who keeps it in his lane, while Coughlin apparently had a driveline failure that allowed his car to creep over the starting line.
Jerry Capano, great job.
Thank you very much. Just want to thank my team, my wife Heather, Robert and Casey, AT&M Sauls, Emily Oil. We all worked so hard for this. Just can't thank everybody enough. Thank you so much. It feels great.
Happy winner indeed. There's Steve Matusik at the wheel of the Agave Underground Supercharged Camaro, but there is point contender Troy Coughlin Sr., who just watched his son fall to mechanical failure. How will the old man fare here against Matusik in round number 1? Problems on both sides of the racetrack, but a red light. Oh, Coughlin is all over the track, apparently unaware that Matusik did have a red light start.
Troy Coughlin, well, a 706 wasn't pretty, but you put a little bit more pressure on Mike Janis.
I'll tell you what, it definitely wasn't pretty. We're not sure what the hell happened on that run. We'll just have to go back and check this thing out, as my dad would say, from bumper to bumper and start replacing pieces and parts, because that was an oddball. We got lucky there.
Indeed. Here is the reigning and two-time world champion Ricky Smith in the IDG nitrous oxide Camaro against the captain of the Agave Underground team, Danny Rowe, who's had one of the weirdest weekends imaginable at this race.
I really don't know what happened yesterday. The car went out there. It was on a good run. Everything felt really good. It had the front wheels hiked up pretty high. When it set the front wheels down, all of a sudden it was like hell broke loose, and it slid over to the wall and just tapped the wall. And took out the left side of the car, and unfortunately we hurt that car really bad and had to go get the backup.
And after all that work to get the backup car to this event, it won't fire up for the opening round match, and tricky Ricky Smith takes a valuable win in the point standings with this first round single. Ricky is no doubt elated with his luck, and speaking of elation, Heather and Jerry Capano are still celebrating their opening round win down at the top end of Gateway Motorsports Park. Stay with us. Round number 1 continues. Welcome back to the J&A Service Pro Mod Series, presented by Precision Turbo and brought to you by ARP, the world leader in fastener technology. By Aeromotive, serious fuel systems for pro mods to hot rods and everything in between. And by Precision Turbo and Engine, the winning edge in boosted performance. We're still in the middle of round number 1 of eliminations, and next up is a Ford versus Chevrolet match between two nitrous oxide injected race cars, each of which has already taken an event title this year. The silver Corvette of Bob Ram, who won the first event, has already had problems in qualifying.
Ran pretty well in the first round to get a baseline, and then second round it didn't like the tune-up, so it backfired and messed up the hood scoop. But the motor's a little bit hurt. We got a sleeve that's gouged up and a couple valves that are messed up in that cylinder. But until we can prove it out, we're just going to stick with what we got right now, and it ran pretty fast for that.
Well, it's going to have to, because remember, this is a battle between Glidden, number 3 in points, and Ram, number 4 in points. Whoever advances will have an advantage, but a red light start for Billy Glidden ends it. Ram's car headed for the center line. He was off pace. Glidden's 588 would have easily won that match. Heating up the tires in the next match, the outrageous Dodge Daytona Charger of Pete Farber, past national event winner as well. But alongside him is a man who has the door wide open in front of him. Point leader Mike Janis and his supercharged Camaro has to stay in this battle. And with a huge advantage, Janis unleashes one of the quickest runs in the round to stay in the point lead.
We knew we had a good race car all weekend. It's just an electrical glitch, and our crew pulled it off. I can't believe it. We just Kevin rewired the whole car, and I can't say enough for all our sponsors. I mean, just helping us through the year. It's great.
Next up is the incredible Jerry Haas Race Cars built Cadillac CTSV that Stephen Whiteley put on the pole of the 16-car field. He'll be alongside veteran racer Harold Martin, who may have finally overcome the problems that have plagued him this year.
Well, it's called persistence over resistance. We just didn't have the setup, and it was been my fault. I've just been so busy in our company. Our business is expanding, growing globally, and I have not had the opportunity to focus on my race car.
Harold Martin's Radical Corvette has its work cut out for it because Whiteley has produced astonishing elapsed times at this race. And problems for Harold Martin will allow Whiteley to continue that pace. In fact, only 100th of a second slower than his #1 qualifying spot. The Colorado kid is having the best day of his life. Here's the Quality Plus Compressors supercharged Chevy Camaro from Canada. Eric Latino is at the wheel, and alongside him, that outrageous Dodge Charger of Chip King. The North Carolina veteran in the far lane qualified a season-high 5th, and indeed, his new crew chief, Jason Hamstra, has got this thing flying. Side-by-side supercharged cars, a little bobble at mid-track, but King advances on a hole shot, and Jason Hamstra is as happy as anybody about that.
I need a hat. I'm having a bad hair day.
A bad hair day, Chip King. Come on, man. Wind lights will change that, brother.
Wind lights change everything, brother. Everything. My crew told me I wasn't riding home with them if I got treed. So I had to not only leave first, I had to run faster, too.
Well, you didn't run faster. You beat him on a hole shot.
That's all it took then, right?
You'll probably get a ride in the front seat.
I'm going to get a double stuffed Oreo.
Well, going into round number 2, Chip King is one of 5 supercharged cars still in this program. Only 2 nitrous racers and Troy Coughlin's lone turbo car are still in this battle. Stay with us. Round 2 is next. We're back with the NHRA J&A Service Pro Modified Drag Racing Series presented by Precision Turbo and Engine. Here at Gateway Motorsports Park, it's time for round number 2. 8 cars remain. 5 of them are supercharged entries in a surprising twist. But here's 2-time and defending world champion Ricky Smith in one of 2 remaining nitrous oxide injected race cars, his IDG Chevy Camaro. In the other lane, the surprisingly strong husband and wife team, the Capano family out of Delaware with their supercharged 63 Stingray, hoping to unseat the world title holder. Then they're out in front of Ricky Smith. But Smith drives around and takes the win. Capano murdered Tricky Ricky on the starting line. Ricky Smith was behind at half track, but pulled out the win by 30 thousandths of a second. Wow. Here's Chip King heating up the tires in his satin-finished 1970 Dodge Charger. But while Chip has been running good, here's the man with the pressure on his shoulders. It's Troy Coughlin Sr. in the last remaining turbo car, the Jegs.com Corvette.
Went through the whole thing and found a couple things that were making mistakes and one part that was broke, so that was kind of a blessing. So yeah, we'll take that lucky star on that run for sure, and we just got to get the rest of these guys to help take out Mike, because Janice is pretty tough. He's definitely the star of this year. He's fast.
Troy referring to that incredibly lucky first round in which his car was all over the track even after his opponent red lighted. He's got to have a good clean run here against Chip King, because King is running well and King's out in front. What a drag race, and Coughlin runs him down in the last few feet to win by a mere 31 thousandths of a second. That was a tight one. And now Mike Janis and Bob Ram, both of whom have had problems in qualifying and eliminations.
We switched engines today, put the good one in. We had 2 good fuel runs back to back. The numbers held up there, so we made the choice last night to put the solid one in there and just go for it this morning.
There's a safety switch for that locks out the tranny brake when you put it in second gear. And we're thinking the relay for that was bad. We did replace that, which we've never done all year, and replace that.
The pressure is on Janis in the far lane. He's got to stay in this program. He's the point leader. Bob Ram trying to run him down, and an explosion in the far lane for Janis. Ram takes the win with his quickest run of the day.
Bob Ram, you took out the points leader.
Well, you know, Mike's got a great team there. I knew they were going to be tough, but, you know, I mean, this is the best scenario. You know, we get the race, the guys we're trailing, so we can keep knocking them out. Be great.
Watch the replay of that race. Mike Janis in the far lane trying to retain his point lead against number 4 Bob Ram. Watch the left side. Kaboom. That was all she wrote, and Ram took the win.
Points leader Mike Janis, unfortunately, out in round number 2. And you say you had a mechanical problem with that car?
Yeah, we don't know what happened. We just got lean, I guess. We had it jacked up a little bit too much, but we had to. We were on a good run. I had him on the tree, and everything was going good, and went into high gear and kicked the burst panels out.
The final race of round number 2 will feature 2 drivers, both of whom hail from the high country.
Knowles and I, we're both from Colorado. We're neighbors, actually, so we can poke at each other a little bit. It's a good guy. Their car's running very well.
Yeah, for the neighborhood. They're actually neighbors. So, yeah, it'll be a good time. It's going to be a good race. Track's going to be tight, and we'll got to do the best we can do.
Interestingly, neither driver is a factor in the 2015 point championship, but the far lane is last year's winner. The near lane is this year's low qualifier, and we've got a drag race. But Mike Knowles and his Al Capone-themed Tim McAmis race cars Mustang keeps on winning. We started this round with 5 supercharged cars. Only one remains, the Mustang of Mike Knowles. The other 3 drivers are still battling for a world championship. Stay with us for the semifinals. You don't want to miss this. Welcome back to the NHRA J&A Service Pro Modified Drag Racing Series presented by Precision Turbo and Engine and brought to you by the School of Automotive Machinists, education at full speed. By J&A Service, a leader in oil and gas well servicing and exploration. And by Precision Turbo and Engine, the winning edge in boosted performance. 4 cars remain, including this man, last year's winner, Mike Knowles, but alongside him, the man who moved now into the catbird seat. He is the number 2 points earner for the season so far with a chance to take number 1. Troy Coughlin says conditions are right to do it.
Both lanes are really pretty equal. I mean, I don't know which one I'd pick if we had the choice at this point in time until we get up there, but no, I think it should be some pretty tight racing. Both lanes should be pretty good. Hopefully Jakes.com car will yellow its way down through there.
Point leader Mike Janis is out. Number 2 man, Coughlin in the near lane with the turbocharged Steve Petty tuned Corvette, must take advantage of that. Meanwhile, Mike Knowles knows this racetrack. He won here last year in that supercharged Ford, and he's out in front. And stays there in a dramatic drag race. Knowles' quickest run of the weekend beats Coughlin.
Mike Knowles going to your 2nd consecutive final round here at St. Louis. You want to hold all the Pro Mod races here?
Yeah, why the hell not? Hell, it's good to me. What a day. I mean, it's, man, it's fantastic. Let's go to the final and win this thing. Be a good day. Troy?
Troy Coughlin a little bit frustrated. An 0.29 reaction time wasn't enough to win that race, which was separated by 32 thousandths of a second at the finish line.
Vegas is going to get very interesting for that World Championship.
It is. I mean, you know, Rame's still in. You know, we just got beaten the Jakes.com car, and Janis went out in the second round, and it's going to be tight. It's going to be a dogfight clear to the end, but God, I wouldn't want it any other way.
Mike English is correct. The Vegas final will be incredible, but we still have this battle between number 4 point earner Bob Ram, who won the first race of the year, and number 8 point earner and 2-time and reigning world champ Ricky Smith in the far lane in this battle of nitrous Chevrolets. The winner is going to be able to make up a lot of distance on everybody else now that Troy Coughlin is out. They're both pre-staged. Who will go in first? Will Ricky Smith play his notorious starting line games here? Ram stages first. And Ricky waits and waits to the last possible second. They leave the line together. It's an incredible race. But Ricky Smith wins. His daughter is happy with that one. And Ricky won it in his favorite style on a hole shot. The difference at the finish line, 19 10,000ths of a second.
I knew it was going to be a race.
Ricky Smith out of his car there, and hey, where you been all year? You won that one by 1,000th of a second at the stripe.
Two old people up there trying to do the best they can. You know, Bob's a good guy. I like running him. We're all good friends. Hey, 2 nitrous cars, at least one's in the final.
Indeed, but watch the replay of this drag race, especially Bob Ram's silver nitrous Corvette. Ram was actually ahead of Ricky Smith at the 8th mile mark and even at the 1,000-foot mark when that engine explosion killed his forward momentum.
Vegas is going to be a huge war for this points title.
Yeah, it's great. You know, I'm proud of the whole team, and you know, we gave it our best shot. I think we hurt something out because we were out in front of them by a little bit there. I couldn't see him for a minute, and then I started nosing over, so he must have heard it.
You did. It'll be Ford versus Chevy, blown versus nitrous in the final round.
ProMod 101 is brought to you by Precision Turbo and Engine.
In NHRA Pro Mod, you can be on such a wide variety of racetracks. It could be 65 degrees and cloudy with track temperatures of 110 degrees. It could be 100 degrees and sunny with track temperatures approaching 140 degrees. It's amazing the variations that we have to get 3,500 horsepower down in 5 seconds at 250 miles an hour. And it's not uncommon to find a lot of extra parts in the trailer. What works today on this racetrack might be something where we have to change for tomorrow. So here we are at the rear of the car, and we see the springs, and inside those springs are the shock absorbers, just like in the rear of your passenger car today. You'll also notice next to the spring is a little rod. That's an indicator rod that monitors shock travel. We also have those rods in the front for the struts. Follow up on the shock sensors that we're talking about. There's 2 on the front, 2 on the rear. These are the front strut sensors. If you notice, they fully extend out around 2 seconds. These are the rears, and you can see as soon as the car launches, it drives out, compresses the shock, and away we go, off to the races.
Just amazing stuff from Harry Haruska each and every show. It is time for the final round. Ford versus Chevrolet, nitrous versus supercharged as advertised. But this one's a little bit different. Ricky Smith in the near lane with the IDG nitrous Camaro needs to pick up ground in the World Championship chase. On the far side, the Tim McAmis Race Cars Al Capone-themed Mustang of Mike Knowles is looking to win this race for the second time. Ricky gets the whole shot. But give this one to the supercharged Ford. Ricky Smith's car slows down even though he got the whole shot, and Mike Knowles doubles up.
Undefeated here at Gateway Motorsports Park. My friend, congratulations.
Oh, man, incredible. Man, what a day, you know? Oh, just good. I don't even know what to say. Man, what a deal. Ricky, thank you so much.
That's the happiest you've ever seen Ricky Smith after a final round loss, because he moved from 8th up to 4th going into the final event. It's a blown car leading, followed by a turbo car and 2 nitrous racers going into the last event, which will be our next show in Las Vegas. On behalf of myself, Brett Kepner, and Mike English, we'll see you at the season finale.